Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. It's just about to start my watering, late in the day, so I'm going to end up doing it in the warmer section because it's a sunny day, as is going to be the rest of this week. Yet, no rain. Again. That is probably 50 days, heading up possibly towards 55 since we've had rain. Official drought conditions here, you know, being in Africa. Anyway, the first plant I picked up, I suddenly remembered, as it was quite obvious, that it was a subject for our orchid clinic. So I had to stop my watering before it even started, because it was the first plant, to do the first video in the orchid clinic. And I need to do this one now because once it's done it might not provide the opportunity ever again. We shall see. Right, I will get the camera around relatively close because this is close-up type work. And I can't get the tripod much closer because there's stuff in the way, so we'll use the zoom. Right, and hopefully that's in focus. Now what the plant is doesn't matter that much, apart from the fact it comes into the Cattleya alliance. It is in fact Garrowettia Black Comet. So that's a mixture of Prosthetia and something. And hopefully you can see already, let's get it out of this black pot, it has quite a bit of scale. This is not mealybugs, this is scale. And this got sprayed last time I watered it with the systemic. Why hasn't it worked then? That's why this plant's in the clinic. It's to explain why on a plant that looks like this, of this type, a systemic spray for scale is probably going to do no good at all. It will kill the crawler scale that come out from under the little limpets because it is a contact killer as well as systemic. So why doesn't the systemic work? We've got two old leafless bulbs here and a bulb with 2 leaves. The systemic doesn't soak into the bulbs. It doesn't work like that. It needs to soak in through the leaves. Now this plant's only got 2 leaves for 3 bulbs, so the systemic function is highly unlikely to be of any use because it's not going to get to all the parts of the plant, and also the adult scale are probably not feeding on the bulbs, they're waiting for the crawlers. Now as I've said, when you see bugs, deal with them. That's the easiest way. Now I'm going to have to take some bark out because basically I can see scale right down at the base of this pseudo bulb and I need to be able to get at them. So if necessary you might even need to unpot your orchid, but you need to be able to see all of the plant. What you can't see you won't kill. Oh, we've got some good roots coming down here, that's good. So I didn't actually know that. I'm not going to disturb the roots too much around this side because this is where all the new roots are. But I've now exposed the base of this oldest pseudo bulb, which is covered in scale. Right, method. Kill what you can see. So first of all, make sure you can see as much as possible. This is, top back on in case I knock it over. This is 70% rubbing alcohol, yeah? That's what I use. Some people go to a higher percentage than that. I think that's good enough. Right, why doesn't the systemic work then? The adult scale, the limpet-like things, have got a waxy coating, and the contact killer part of the systemic doesn't go through that coating. So it doesn't get at the adult and therefore doesn't get at the crawlers the babies that are safely tucked away inside that thing, the limpet, the covering. Now I'm taking this stake out because behind the stake, as always, there's another lot hiding away. So we'll take that out for now. Right, and I've got little cotton wool buds, and we have our alcohol. And now we do physical removal. So I would suggest you start at the top of the plant. So there's a crawler there. Down in the leaf joints. Yeah, get down in there. Do what you can see. Any little tiny white dot is a subject. Right, we're doing leaves at the moment. See the tiny white dot there? Physically remove them. Another one there. That's that leaf done. Come round and do this one. Now if you had a plant with an awful lot of leaves, this is going to take you an awful long time. Well, if you don't do it, you won't get rid of them. So now what I'm going to do is switch to bulbs, and we'll do the bulb that we've just started. There's a sheath here. And there they all are on the inside of that sheath. You've got to get the sheaths off. Now this unfortunately is a film. It's the inside of a sheath, so it's not a proper woody sheath like you get. It's what's left after you remove that, which is a nuisance. Right, so we're now down to the bulb. Any white dots? And now we might have to start scrubbing a bit harder. So I'm going to do the bulb first. And I'm doing this sheath on the grounds that I'm hoping by soaking it, it might actually come off. It's being reluctant to come off at the moment. Well, I've damaged it. We should be able to get the rest of it off. Right, so then we get down to the base of that bulb, which is where there are quite a lot of scale. Wipe them. The adults need to be not dabbed, wipe them off so that they're gone. You don't want anything left. No visible signs left after you finish. I'm changing ends now. You can use both ends, and I'm switching to this bulb. Now where the top has been cut, there's a ring. That's covered in scale. All round there. And the next one down, that's got scale on it. So wipe them off, don't dab them, wipe them. And then come down one side, these are adult scale here. There's a couple of little juveniles that have come out, but these need to come off. And as they come off, make sure you give the area where they were a good rub. Then if there's anything left, you should kill it. Right down to the base first ring. I'm not doing the actual base yet. Then we come round to the other side. And again, we just come down, wipe the adults off completely, and give the area that they were on a good rub. Now we come down to the base, and this is why I got the bark out of the way, because there's quite a few on the base. Now I'm still not going to get every single one. There will still be some probably on the underside of a piece of bark. Don't be skimpy with these things and think, oh, I'll make it last. You know, a box full of that like that's probably about 90p or a quid. You can get these, by the way. They don't have to be that make, but preferably get something that's recyclable. But basically, you can get them in. You can get them online. You can get them in supermarkets. You can get them in pharmacies, chemists. Common as muck. So they should not be difficult to obtain. Now we're moving on to the last bulb. Again, we start right at the top on those top rings. And you come down one side of the bulb. But as I said, don't be stingy with these. You know, you get a box full of them. I mean, the box I've got up in the bathroom, it's like 3 times the size of that, and it was still only a couple of quid. And that's what I do with this one. I don't buy more. I top it up from the ones up in the bathroom. But this is the worst bit here. This has got crawlers and adults. It's got the lot. As I said, this was sprayed last time and it's done virtually no good at all. It doesn't soak in properly with orchids like this. Right, then we come down to the base. Actually, I'll switch ends, get a nice clean end. And there's a lot at the base of this bulb. So I will wipe as best I can. I won't get them all because obviously I'm not doing the underside of the bulb. And I suspect there's some tucked away there. But I'll get everything I can see. Right, when you're happy that you've got every single one that you can see, double check, go round again, keep turning the plant, keep looking. And when you're confident you've got every single white dot and limpet-like scale insect, you can say that you've probably successfully removed the absolute worst of them, but I can almost guarantee you won't have got the lot. So you're going to have to do this again. So keep your eye on it, wait till you start seeing them reappear and then get at them. Now I'm just putting my bark back on, cover up these new roots, because I'm now going to water it. I can now get on with my watering, which is what I came out here for in the first place. Now I'm still going to put this stake back in because this is still a little bit wobbly. So I just put it down the side like that and just clip that onto that bulb. It should just hold it reasonably steady. Yeah, that's not too bad. It's got lots of new roots, so it's going to steady itself up soon anyway. So there we go, that's the first in the clinic. Now I'm a waste not, want not. What have we done to contaminate that? Absolutely nothing. All we've done is dip some cotton wool buds in it. Yeah? And we didn't dip them in again, we used them. And then we went on to another one. So there's nothing wrong with that. So it can go back in there. Don't need to clean that or wash it because that will evaporate. And it's nice and clean inside, having just had the alcohol. So as I said, try and get recyclable things so that they can go in the recycling bin. And there we go. That's treatment for this one. We've got a nice new growth coming. We've got some new roots. This plant should pick up because this would be on our other sort of mini project that we're going to do, which is this really. It's the plant clinic, and it's looking at plants that aren't doing well. And I'll tell you why this one isn't doing well. A couple of the older bulbs started to rot. Reason unknown. So I had to unpot it and cut them off. And that left quite a small section. This is a small division. It's not flowering size. The two old bulbs here, they're not totally shriveled. They do have life in them. And I seem to have stopped the rot because it hasn't progressed. This is the limiting factor, the fact that there's only 2 leaves, so there's not much photosynthesis going on, obviously. The new growth hopefully can produce a bulb as big as this and another pair of leaves. I think occasionally you might get 3 on a bulb, but it's mostly 2. If it's 1, then it's a weak bulb. And obviously we're developing a new root system. That's new, that's in development. You can see it is getting down into the pot. Yeah? So I'd say that this has been rescued, but its progress would have been impaired by the scale. Now, I can't really identify the difference, but I know that the scale that came in on the cymbidiums was not Bois Duval scale, which is the nasty stuff. However, any of my orchids that aren't cymbidiums, that have got some scale on them, it will be the Bois Duval scale, because I had that real bad round the other place. It took down my Tolumnias and severely damaged a lot of my Cattleya reliance and did some harm to a lot of Oncidium types. I had it bad round there and I just couldn't get rid of it. Bad enough that to do this on some of the large heading towards specimen sized plants would have taken all day to do one plant. So I was relying on the sprays and it wasn't working. Now since I've come round here, there is still a bit of it about, but not much. It's on a few plants. It's not an outbreak, it's not an epidemic, it's on a few plants. And by keeping on top of it like this, I should stop it spreading. Now, this type of scale, Bois Duval scale, French spelling, you can look it up and read all about it and read that it is very difficult to eradicate completely. So that will back up what I've said. But the way to get rid of it is physical removal, wipe them off the plants, make them gone, and keep doing it until eventually there's not enough left to form a breeding colony. Because once they get going, they can do some serious damage. The problem you've got with that type of scale is when they bite into the plants, when they feed on the plants, they inject toxins into the plants. Some plants brush it off and others go downhill quite badly. And I found that the Cattleya alliance reacts the worst to those type of scale. A few of my smaller Cattleyas that were mounted, the scale actually killed the plants. It actually took them down. And it also took my Tolumnias down. So it can be pretty nasty stuff. So keep your eye out for it. Make sure you know its scale, wipe it all off. You can do exactly the same treatment for mealybugs if you want, but they should be more susceptible to systemics if the plant is. So if you've got an Oncidium type with lots and lots of leaves, or a Miltoniopsis, or some of the Dendrobiums with lots and lots of leaves, the systemic will get in there and it will do its job. Yeah? But it's not so good on Phalaenopsis, it's not so good on Cattleya types because the leaves are thick and fleshy and they don't absorb much. That's why foliar feeds don't work so well on those types of orchids, whereas they can work very well on some other types. So there we go, that's your first orchid clinic. Physical removal of Bois Duval scale. The other type of scale that came on in on the Cymbidiums is more susceptible to the systemic because Cymbidiums have got lots and lots of leaves and they do soak the systemic into the plant. So they're killing them from the inside out, as well as the physical removal from the contact element on the crawlers, those that are outside of that covering, that limpet-like shell. So there we go, that's it for that one, and I need to get on with my watering now because it was actually lunchtime, so we're going to have a late lunch. So be it. These orchids should have been done yesterday really, but I had quite a busy day yesterday, so they just didn't get done. So we will do them now in the warmest part of the day, so be it. Sometimes you just have to push through. And I will see you in the next one. Thanks for dropping by. Bye for now.